Hi guys, it's Ryan here with Sigma Survival, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about turning newspaper into stab and spike resistant armour. Okay guys, so how can we take something thin and flimsy and papery like this I should say, and turn it into something that will stop? It's not going to stop bullets, it's not going to stop firearms of any sort, generally speaking, in my opinion. But what it will do is it will stop knives, spikes, potentially shrapnel, crossbows and bows at the right sort of draw weight. So let's look at how we're going to do this. Some of you are probably thinking already, yeah, he's going to layer them up, and you're right, I am going to layer them up. But before I do that, I need to test exactly how many I need to stop, a very powerful blow. And I'm not just going to test one knife, I'm going to test multiple knives, multiple spikes, and I'm also going to look at the slash resistance. So let's look at how we do that. Just a little bit poking through there, but honestly, if you was wearing a t-shirt, you wouldn't even feel that. So maybe just one extra bit of newspaper and you'd be absolutely fine. I honestly don't think that is an issue at all, and that's an £80 draw weight pistol crossbow. So I think it would stop most shrapnel, pretty much any knife. Most crossbows, I mean a more powerful crossbow, like you know, some of the ones that are like 170 plus draw weight, maybe you're gonna need, you know, a few extra newspapers. Okay guys, so as you can see, this newspaper, you know, standing alone on its own, it's not really going to do a great job. Slash resistance for one of them might do an okay job for something a bit crap that's, you know, not a very sharp knife, but something like a Stanley knife or a sharp sort of combat knife, it's going to go straight through. The same with, like, you know, thrusting attacks as well. So what I've done is I've put together 28 of these bad boys, and it has already been tested. It's a pretty simple process really of just binding them together with duct tape. 28 newspapers of this size. This doesn't mean to say that 28 newspapers is what you require, because your local newspaper might be different. If you live here in the UK, these are Metro newspapers. These you get these for free all the time on the trains and buses and at train stations and whatnot. So these are really easy to acquire. And I started looking into this not all that long ago, because I was thinking, what would I do if, like, someone started running around with a knife and trying to kill people just randomly? That has actually happened here in the UK on multiple occasions. So, you know, I catch trains, I have to catch buses sometimes. A wad of these newspapers and a little bit of tape, or even just, you know, stuffing them under your shirt or your jacket, is going to give you a lot more protection than if you didn't have it. So this will stop a powerful thrust from multiple combat knives, cheap knives, spikes. It stopped an £80 crossbow, £80 draw weight that is. I'm pretty confident that this would keep you alive. You might need more or less, like I say though, so you have to do these tests for yourself as safely as possible, of course. I can't be liable for any injuries that you incur while you're testing this stuff out if you do. But another thing that you could do with this as well is just put it into a backpack and hide behind that backpack, maybe. You know, something that maybe people didn't think about. But, you know, especially if you've got kids and stuff, if you're going through an area where there's explosions going off for whatever reason, maybe there's fires everywhere and there's gas tanks or whatever, or there's cars exploding, anywhere where there's potential shrapnel or people with knives, this is useful. I think this could save your life. And even if it doesn't completely stop it, it's going to slow it down, and it's going to potentially save your life, because it's going to stop the amount of depth that injury is going to be. So, before I finish here, I probably forgot to mention that there's slash resistance to this as well. So you only need 4 newspapers to stop most knives. So there's no way that if someone slashes you across the body or the back that they're going to penetrate where the armour is, at least. One thing I will say is that this stuff is flammable. It's paper. So if you're looking at shrapnel protection in particular, then maybe get some PVA glue, layer it onto inside some of the pages. Maybe every newspaper on the back and front you put PVA glue. Sprinkle some sodium bicarbonate, and that's going to potentially help extinguish any flame that comes from hot shrapnel. Just food for thought, because when sodium bicarbonate burns, it becomes carbon dioxide and water, which is good to know. You can make armour on the cheap for pennies. This cost me nothing actually, because these were free newspapers that I just collected over time, and the duct tape is pennies, isn't it? So yeah, this is why you should always carry duct tape. Another thing that I will say is this is a really useful thing to have on you instead of buying body armour. Body armour is expensive. You know, body armour can cost you anywhere from like £750 to £3,000, like depending on what sort of grade you want. You know, stab protection armour and spike protection armour in particular can cost you thousands of pounds. You only have to look at what the police wear, and if you buy it brand new, you're looking at a lot of money. If you buy it second hand, you can sometimes get it cheaper, but it's second hand. You don't know what that's been through and how viable it still is. Once you get out of the hot zone, if you're trying to escape civil unrest, armed conflict, you know, any sort of disaster where there's explosions or anything like that, then having this as a backup method to be able to give yourself some body armour, it could save your life. It really could. It's a shield from edged weapons. If you're wearing it under your clothes, you know, same sort of thing. You can just do it on the fly really quickly. And like I say, once I'm out of that area, and let's say I'm in a wilderness area now, I've got toilet paper, I've got a fire log, I've got fire starting materials, or even like just insulation from the floor if I'm putting it into a bedroll or something. So it's also a resource outside of what it's used for, you know, as armour. Anyway, I hope that was useful. I have got a part 2 coming up where I'm going to talk about how you can protect against machetes, hacks from machetes and axes and other implements that can be used in that way. So that's going to be part 2. Obviously this, I do imagine that this will actually, with the thickness of it, will stop machete swings. So if someone was to try and gut you with it, you know, it's thick enough, I would say, to stop that. Please do like and subscribe. It really helps the channel to grow. It really keeps me motivated to keep putting this content out there. Content like this I just love doing anyway. I'm like a big kid experimenting and whatnot. Watch out for part 2. That one is going to show you how to even improve your survivability even more. Drop me a comment, let me know what you think. Let me know if you're going to utilise this or if it's worth thinking about. Even if you live in a country where firearms are more prevalent, you know, if you're trying to protect against shrapnel, putting one of these in your backpack or putting it over your plate carrier or something like that could be a nice way to preserve that armour longer term. Just food for thought. Anyway, thanks for watching, and until next time.